I had a wholesaler send me this house. He's selling it for $15,000. And when I called him, I found out that it has already been sold. Now, wait, you may think this is a great deal. Oh my goodness, 15 grand, everybody should buy that. But oh no. I'm gonna show you why this is a horrible mistake that whoever bought this has made. We're gonna walk around, I'm gonna show you the condition of the property. I'm telling you, this thing is gonna take around $70,000 to renovate. And that's just me eyeballing it. And then you may think, well, you have $85,000 in the house, you can rent it for $800, $900 a month. That's a pretty good deal until it's not. And so I wanna go back, after we walk through the house, I'm gonna go back and show you at the office why this would be the worst mistake you ever made if you bought this house right here. Okay, so a few things about this house. I mean, we're in the back of the house and you can see there's been an addition to this house and it's essentially caving in, falling in. You can see daylight in there. There's really no salvaging this back here and it's just in complete ruins. And so let's keep walking around this house. I still can't believe somebody bought it. So here again, you see kind of the, this is the addition, kind of the results. It's kind of caving in. But even on the main house, you just have like all the paint has come off, the wood's fully exposed. And so this is gonna be really, really tough to get back into a livable condition. When you see daylight coming through your soffit and fascia, you got problems. If you just look inside the house here, some people may climb in here actually and spend the night and then just climb out in the morning. I'm not really sure what's going on in here, but as you can see, all of this stuff is just totally destroyed. I just think there's probably gonna cost $60,000, $70,000 to rehab this house and get it even rentable. So just buckling up here, again, rotten wood, peeling paint everywhere. It's just gonna take so much work. Got no gas meter, no electric, so you're out of luck with that. You got power lines and crushed steps. These are the junk houses that people buy that I don't understand how they think this is going to somehow work. This house was bought for $15,000. My only thought is if somebody else is trying to sell it to an out-of-state investor, somebody from California or something, but there's really not any way that you're gonna make money on this property. And so what we can do is we can go back to the office and I'll just kind of lay out the problems that whoever bought this is gonna have with it and just show you that not all cheap houses are worth buying. I know they really look good on paper, but it ends up being a nightmare for the person who buys it. I've been a big believer that if you buy right, you can make most real estate deals work well, but just looking at that house, it reminded me of some things that I want to share with you because not every deal should be bought. It doesn't matter what it looks like on paper, it doesn't matter what it looks like on a spreadsheet. So here are the main reasons why you shouldn't buy these types of houses that I was just at. The first thing where people make a big mistake is they buy it sight unseen. They are going there and they're buying this house. They've not seen it. They've looked at pictures online. As a matter of fact, when this wholesaler sent me this deal, I looked at the pictures, which I could already tell there was a lot of problems with the house, but I wanted to see it in person. And then when I drove up, you could barely see it. It was completely covered with shrubs and it looked a lot worse than really what I imagined. And then going to the back of the property and seeing the whole backside of it falling off, whoever bought this made a huge mistake. But this is a big problem. People think that they can be out-of-state real estate investors without actually walking the streets and seeing these properties. And it's a massive mistake that I see people make. I'm 99% sure the person who bought this was not a local investor because I know a lot of local investors and none of them would buy this house. It's going to be a nightmare. That's the first thing that I see. And now the second reason I wouldn't buy this house, it's because it's a full rehab. I'm not talking about carpet and paint. I'm talking about massive amounts of work. Like you saw it, like we're talking new windows, we're talking a new roof, HVAC, electrical, everything that house was gutted. The roof had caved in. Just imagine a house sitting there for probably years. It was very close to falling in the ground. I'm surprised that the city, and maybe this is why the owner was actually selling it, maybe because the city did give them notice. If you don't do something about this eyesore, we're going to bulldoze the property. As a matter of fact, next door was an empty lot, and I'm wondering what happened to the house that was there. Probably bulldozed by the city. And I'm just telling you, I may have been short on my $70K renovation number. It could be more like 100,000. I don't know. We're talking about just rental grade, getting it up to rental grade, but it's still going to need everything you can think of. So full rehabs are not something that real estate investors should be doing, especially when they're out of state and they're new. You're not probably equipped to manage a team of renovation people, a crew from out of state. I just think even in state, it's going to be a really, really rough project, a very expensive project. This is not even like counting all the things that you're going to find when you get into that property. So huge mistake there. This is another reason why this was a horrible buy. So let's go on. Number 3. This is most definitely a D class area. It's my belief that you shouldn't buy in D class areas unless you're very seasoned. Now, if you're not really sure what a D class area is, there's A class, which is going to be your nicest parts of town. You have B class, which are great, solid, great schools, just good, solid towns. You have C class, which is more working class. Love C class. Most investors really like C class because you can get properties at a discount. There's still a lot of pride in ownership. People are hardworking, have jobs, and they pay their rent on time. So C class, and then below that you have D class. And D class has its own problems because you have high crime, you have poor schools, you have a lot of streets that have vacant properties, burned out properties, boarded up properties. If you're out of state, you don't really know what you're buying. And it just comes with its own set of problems that most people aren't equipped to deal with, especially when you're new. When you buy a rental piece of property, what you really want is you want a hassle-free experience. You want to buy it, have a great resident put in it, and then you want them to pay rent. And you want to, of course, take care of any kind of maintenance request or whatever. But what you really want is you just don't want a lot of communication. They want to be left alone. You really want to be left alone. But buying in these D-class areas, there tends to be more potential problems in these areas. And so it takes a lot more work. I'm speaking from a property management standpoint. I grew up buying houses in these areas. And so I know what kind of issues they have. And most real estate investors don't think about that when they're buying. So this would be the third reason why this would not be a good deal for anybody. All right, let's move on. Number 4. I just think it's not a landlord friendly municipality. I hope I spelled that right. Meaning that depending on where you're buying your properties across the country, I happen to know this area has regulations and rules. You have to pay landlord fees. You have to get certain things registered. It's going to cost you more. They're not really excited about investors buying houses here. And so they make it more difficult. And you have to go through an approval process. You have to have the house inspected. So I can't even imagine doing $70,000 or $100,000 renovation on this house and then getting a city inspector over there and them saying, hey, you've got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. Not to mention if you want to rent it Section 8, then you have to have a Section 8 inspection. You really need to know the different municipalities and the different regulations and the different things that they're doing just so you don't get caught all of a sudden getting slowed down. Before you know it, 1 month turns into 2 months, 3 months, and you don't have the property rented, and that's thousands of dollars that you assumed you were going to get. Probably on your spreadsheet you said you were going to get them, but all of a sudden you're not getting them. And honestly, when you put all this together, when I put all this together, I just really always think about the resident. I always want to be thinking about the resident. Who wants to rent in this area? I want to find a great resident. In order for me to find a great resident, I'm going to have a great property in a really good area. It doesn't have to be the best area. It doesn't have to be A class. It could be C class. It could even be D class. But I want to find the best resident who wants to rent a house. And I want to provide them with a great living experience. That's the whole purpose. And so when I look at these houses, I'm not just thinking about the asset, the house or the property being the asset. I'm thinking about the resident is the real asset, because they're the ones that are paying the rent every single month. So you need to keep that in the back of your mind. All of this made this real estate investment a really bad one. But if you want to know what I'm looking for when I go out and look around the property, which would make it a horrible investment where you will always lose money, then go ahead and watch this video right here.